What is up, everybody? We are back with another Halo Flashpoint video, and today we have a very special unboxing as we have Fireteam Phoenix special issue. So these are a very limited time version or alternate casts of the original 4 models from the Recon and Spartan edition of Halo Flashpoint. So these were only made, I'll just read on the back. The special issue box features 4 exclusive new poses for the original starter set Spartans and Halo Flashpoint. These multi-part miniatures are cast in high detailed plastic designed for collectors and painters. It's time to make your Fireteam stand out like never before. Contents: 1 Spartan Deadeye with DMR, 1 Spartan Brawler with Bulldog, 1 Spartan Mark 7 with Assault Rifle, 1 Spartan Zvezda with Commando. So, like I said, this was only made available for a limited time in, I guess they said during the event season of 2025. That's being, Adepticon and various other events around the world. So if you were lucky enough to go to one of those events attended by Mantic, they were available in person from there. But they did also make them available online for people to be able to purchase directly, which is good. And so I got it a fair bit later than most people, being in Australia, but that's okay. So we'll crack this open and we'll have a look and we'll compare them to the normal models. So we're back. So I have put the original 4 models. These are alternate cast for here on the left. And these are how they came originally. So I'll put them up just so people can remember. I am lucky enough to have a set of these unpainted, so we can kind of compare them directly. So that is the Mark 7 with Assault Rifle. This is the Zvezda with the Commando. The Brawler. This is the Brawler with the Bulldog, not the Bulldog with the Brawler. There we go. And then finally, we have the Deadeye with the DMR. So they are, for little plastic models, very well, like they're pretty highly detailed. Once you start painting them and stuff, you will start to notice they've got like mold lines along the sides and errors, and sometimes, the barrels might be a bit bent. And Mantic have said with these new models here, all that is a problem of the past because they are very high detailed. I think they call it Mastercraft resin or something like that. So we'll take a look. So they do have this very nice Halo Flashpoint assembly guide. So that is the assembly guide for the DMR. He is crouched. We'll talk about that in a little bit. There's a Zvezda with the Commando. The Mark 7 with the Assault Rifle in a very nice, in-action pose, which I really like to see. And finally, we have the Brawler with a Bulldog and a combat knife. And once again, a very highly dynamic pose, which is good to see. Always love stuff like that. So I think one thing to note about the Deadeye is it is crouched. And I'll get the Deadeye down here. And so the original Deadeye is standing up. So there is an argument for whether or not that does give you a gameplay advantage. And Mantic basically said, although it does give you a gameplay advantage, it also gives you some gameplay disadvantage. So they don't really mind which model you use. Because although, you have a smaller shooting profile, you can also have less line of sight when you're crouched. So it's not only harder for you to be shot, it's also harder for you to shoot. And so that's the trade-off you make when you choose to use a crouched model. So Mantic doesn't mind what model you use, and they don't really make any judgment on, gameplay advantage or anything like that. I'll open it up and we'll have a look at the actual models. So they come in individually bagged assemblies, I guess. So we'll look at the first one here. And this one is the Zvezda. So we'll open it up and have a quick look. So like I said, it does come in multiple pieces, which is very good for people that like to paint their models in multiple pieces. And so I'm not going to assemble these, so we're going to have to look at them individually. They are quite light, I think, compared. Yeah, they're significantly lighter than these plastic ones. And we'll see if we can get a side-by-side shot. So if you look at these, like down here in the chest cavity, and like around the head, around the neck especially, you can really see that these Mastercraft models are way more crisp, way more detailed. They haven't got as much of the problems as these plastic injection molded ones have. So that is a fantastic to see, and they are like on this leg piece compared to this one. Like it's much more crisper. It's almost like light and day, the difference between the two. And like once you get through the painting process, you'll really be able to see all this detail. And like even just like the difference between the two and when they're not even painted is phenomenal. So that is fantastic. We also have the arm. So there are like a little bit of artifacts here. So down here, along the bottom here a bit. So they're not like 100% like the perfect. Even this one has a little like artifact here on the back. I guess I have to cut that off. But they said you weren't, well, at least I assumed you weren't supposed to have to cut that stuff off, but this one at least still has it on there. Then we have the other arm, which looks good to go. But once again, it's got this little artifact thing on here. Maybe I am supposed to cut them off, I don't know. I have to check. And then it does come, well, I think it's got here, oh well. It comes with this base that's already pre-textured and things, which is good for, you know, players that want to have a nice textured base and maybe don't have access to a 3D printer. But that is the Zvezda, and we'll look at the next one. So this one is, I'll just open it up, the Deadeye. So there are the two models compared side by side. So this one comes in 3 pieces, being the legs and the 2 arms. I really like the detail in the helmet side by side. But like I said, the detail on these models is fantastic. And they continue to be significantly lighter than their normal plastic counterparts. So I haven't got a lot of experience in other games and how their models are, but I really feel like people online have said these models are probably some of the best, if not the best, high quality models you can get on the market right now, short of actually 3D printing like yourself. And even then, like 3D printing still has its own drawbacks. Like you still have to do cleanup and things. So these might even be better than that. And there's the chest. And then we have a nice textured base. Once again, with these little artifacts on here that I'll have to cut off. We have the leg. Then we have the arm. Where the little hand fits in. And finally, the other arm. So once this video is finished, I'll probably go through and I have a really close look to see if I can find any other little issues other than these little artifacts and things. But I don't think, like the detail on the gun especially, like a lot of detail on the normal model on the gun got lost. But in this one, it's very crisp, very easy to see. That's the Deadeye. Next up, we have the Brawler. There's the default Brawler. Now I'll just hold it there. And so they are in a pretty significantly different pose. But you can really see just how the light catches on the model. That the master resin one, or whatever they want to call it, is a much more detailed than the default one. So I'll put this one down and take a better look at the Brawler. There he is. So, like I said, I can't really see any artifacts or anything on this one. And I'm very excited to paint them up and see how they look. It's got a cool like half and half base on this one. So like half metal, half like dirt or whatever. Comes with a nice bulldog. And I really like that they added like the knife on the arm. That's cool to see. And finally you got his leg. So we'll look at the final one. So this is the Mark 7 finally. And a really good running pose for this one. So the base is half and half again. We'll pick up the model. So it'd be good to have an alternate for Mark 7 where he isn't pointing, because that's kind of been like a meme a little bit in the community, being like all these Mark 7s. Like everyone's got this Mark 7 pointed. Everyone's just pointing at each other. But now you've got this alternate model, which is cool to see. And so because the model's a lot crisper, you might even find them a lot easier to paint, which is cool. And I don't know, this one looks like the proportions might be a little bit, like just a tiny bit different, but maybe it's just because of the detail. The red one's really absorbing a lot of the light and making it hard to tell like size. But yeah, we'll put the red one down and just look at the good crisp one. There he is. Like down here in the legs areas, especially as well. That'll be really crisp when you paint it up properly. So when you look at like the box art for like the Halo Flashpoint and like just most games, they're usually using like these highly detailed models. And that's why they're able to get such crisp results a lot of the time. Like it's, you know, you might not even be able to get that good just because your model usually isn't going to be as good as theirs. But with these Mastercraft ones, like you're almost using one-to-one what they're going to be using for like prototypes and things. So it's going to be really good. But that is that. So that is the Fireteam Phoenix. I'll put up the price right now. So they are significantly more expensive than a normal Fireteam. I think almost 3 times the price. But they're certainly 3 times the quality, if not more. So for you people that want to collect every single Halo Flashpoint thing, you're definitely getting the quality in these models. But, you know, it's just up to you whether or not you want to justify spending that amount of money. Because they have no gameplay advantage other than maybe the Deadeye and only slight. That is all I have to say about that. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe because I'm going to be doing more Halo Flashpoint videos and more of these unboxings as more Halo Flashpoint things are released. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.